Why some relationships end as a result of doing circular breathwork. What? How could that be? Okay, we're going to talk about this today, and it might be controversial. I don't know. I have seen in over a decade of teaching breathwork, of leading other people through breathwork, I've seen some relationships end, and I want to talk about why that is. First of all, what I want to say is the longest and the most important relationship you're ever going to have is the one with yourself. So that's always the relationship that you should be working on, focused on, right? So many people get in a relationship and then they try and work on the other person. You can't really work on the other person or change or fix the other person. You can only work on yourself. And breath work is the ultimate self-care tool. People think that self-care is about a bubble bath or getting your hair done or your nails done or all that. That stuff feels good. Why does it feel good? Oh, because you look pretty. It makes me feel good because I feel like I looked good. That's a little bit about ego, or maybe a lot about ego. But real self-care is doing the hard, uncomfortable work that you don't necessarily feel like doing. When you show up and do the work that you don't want to do, that's when everything changes for you. So like going to the gym is self-care. This breathwork technique that I teach, circular breathwork, conscious connected breathing, is self-care. It's uncomfortable in the beginning. You have to override that mechanism to get the results from it. But what happens? Why would a relationship end as a result of doing circular breathwork? Well, some people are in relationships where they're not being treated well. They're being treated poorly in some way. And why would we ever be in a relationship where someone treats us poorly? This is a hard truth that I'm going to say here. The only reason you would ever stay in a relationship where you're not being treated well is because you feel like you deserve it. Whether it's conscious or unconscious, doesn't matter. You would never stay in a relationship where someone treats you bad if you felt like you didn't deserve it. You would leave, but you feel like you deserve it. Or you're in some abusive relationship with your boss and you're saying, well, I need the money, I have to support my family or whatever. I think you would leave if you didn't feel like you deserved it on some level. So the only reason we ever stay in these abusive relationships, or just maybe they're not abusive, maybe they're just not great, is because we feel like we deserve it. And when we start doing circular breath work, conscious connected breathing, what it does is it changes our self-worth, our self-esteem, our self-love. It shifts that. And we start to say to ourselves, I am worth more. I do deserve more. I am better than this or that or whatever. I do deserve this or that. And so it changes our self-worth. It changes the relationship to yourself. It's one of the biggest things that I see come out of the circular breathwork is that it changes your relationship to yourself. That's the longest, most important relationship you're ever going to have. And so once people start doing circular breathwork, their self-esteem, their self-worth changes, and they don't let people treat them poorly. They start to set boundaries with these people, whether it's a romantic relationship or a work relationship or whatever, it doesn't matter. And someone says something or does something that is not okay, they let them know that's not okay. So what are boundaries? Boundaries are what is and what is not okay for you. And so you start to learn to set better, clear boundaries and take better care of yourself. So this is a good thing. That other person in that relationship, for instance, if you're in a romantic relationship and you're doing this breath work and you start to set these boundaries, well, that other person is either going to have to show up and start respecting your boundaries or show up for you in a different way, or the relationship's going to end and you're going to be better off and you're going to go find someone who's better suited for you, who's a better fit for you. I have done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of private sessions, and oftentimes someone would come in and I'd say, okay, what's the problem? What's the issue? Where do you feel stuck right now in your life? And they go, well, it's my relationship. And I already know what the answer is, right? But I go, okay, 3 minutes, tell me what the problem is in the relationship. And they become like this lawyer on both sides of the case. Well, they're really great like this, and they do this, and I love this about them, and they're great. And I'm like, okay, what's the problem? Well, they don't do this, and they act like this, and they say this, and they start to plead both sides of the case. And my solution is, well, let's just lay down and breathe and get clear on what it is you really want. Because the people are up in their head arguing with themselves about what they want in this relationship. And when you do breath work, it turns off both of those lawyers in your head and it moves you into your heart. And your heart gives you this clear answer of what it is you really want. And every time, I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times, the person sits up afterwards and I go, how was it? And they go, I know what I want. I know what the right thing is. And it's usually like, I have to end this relationship. And some people will go and they'll end the relationship, and other people will wait. And what happens is, after a couple days, the two lawyers come back in our heads and they start arguing the case again. And they start to get in fear. Oh, I don't want to go back on online dating. I don't want to go back on Bumble or Tinder or Match or whatever these online dating sites are. It's really hard. It's really hard to meet somebody, and they're not that. This person isn't that bad. And they start to make a case for why they should stay in the relationship, because they're in fear. They don't want to be alone. They don't want to, they're afraid to be alone. It's fear. They're living in their fear. They're not living in their faith that there's somebody out there that's meant for them. Or that they're better off even being alone than being with somebody who's not treating them well. So what should you do then? You should lay down and breathe again. Because if you lay down and breathe again, you lay down and do the circular breath work again, it's going to clear out that fear. It's going to clear out that noise and that insecurity that you're going to end up alone and this and all these fears. And you'll get back to your faith. You'll get back to your heart. And your heart will find that grounding, that center, that you're okay by yourself, that you'll be okay alone, and that, if you're meant to meet someone, you're meant to meet someone that's right for you, that's better for you. So breathwork is this incredible tool to get us what we want, what we deserve in our lives. I know you deserve it. I know you're worth it, but you need to know you're worth it. You need to feel that inside of yourself. And the best way to feel that inside of yourself is to lay down and do circular breathwork. So I hope to see you in one of my online classes or in-person classes soon. And like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Let me know what you thought of the video. I'd love to hear from you.